What's going on, guys and gals? This is Autotech, and today I've got a simple repair for you, or I guess almost like a maintenance item. So, I'm not going to waste a whole ton of time talking about it. We're just going to kind of dive right into it. Depending on your fairing, the removal can be a little bit different. For me, I've got the Harley clamps. One is locking, one is not. So it's a pretty straightforward removal for the fairing. It just depends on what manufacturer of the clamps you have and whatnot. So for mine, I basically just turn the key and then it'll pop up eventually here. Yeah, there it goes. So now I'm ready to remove these clamps. And when you have the locking clamp, if it's up like that, it's unlocked. So sometimes you want to use two hands. Get in there and pop your clip out, pop this clip out, and then come around to the front of the bike, open those clamps the full way, and pop your fairing off. Be careful you don't drop it. Well, you can tell that hasn't been off in a little bit. Definitely some dust and mud and stuff back there, and it looks like my fairing is touching my headlight. So I'm going to try and sort that out this winter, but that's not today. For the Fat Bob, there are two T10 screws. So you can either use a screwdriver or in my case, I'm just going to use a ratchet and a socket. You're going to want to go ahead and remove both screws. When you go to remove the second one, you're going to want to hold on to the headlight lens and that front piece. So we're over on the left side of the bike now, and as you can see, as I'm loosening that screw, the front of the headlight's trying to come off on me, so that's why you want to use two hands so it doesn't fall off and break. Now the Fat Bob actually has tangs up on the top, so you want to pull the bottom out first and then you can get it to pop up. So as you can see there's those tangs that actually lock the little trim piece on, so carefully remove that. And if you like to gamble like I do what I just did there, but there's nothing holding this in, so be careful. Now you can take this, slide it forward, and then what you're going to want to do is undo those two connectors. And the way that you undo them is you pop that red tang up, and then you can push down and remove it. There's what it looks like with that tang up, and then you're going to push right there, and oh geez, I just about dropped her. So yeah, be careful there. Now the removal of the bulb is pretty straightforward. Just twist it left, left to loosen, right to tighten, and then you can pop your bulbs out. It's always advised to replace both at the same time, just because you're going to get different brightnesses as they age and whatnot. Now, they claim you're not supposed to touch the bulb. They even taught me that in school and whatnot. I don't know how much I truly believe it. Like, I mean, accidents happen. I've touched bulbs in the past and they didn't explode upon like use. But to put them in, you just line up the tabs. And by tabs, I mean these three tabs hanging out, and then you can see the three tabs there. So you want to have them go in the same way that they were when you had them out, just so that your wires run naturally to them. One thing that I like to do, and it's definitely something that is good preventative, especially if you plan to keep the bike for a long time, is take a little bit of dielectric grease and just put a little smear across the connector. As you can see, not much, just a little smear across there. And what that does is it just helps keep moisture out of there, especially out of those connections. I'm sure over the years you've unplugged something and you found just this green fuzz, green death. That's not good. That's resistance, and then that ends up taking down your whole circuit and whatnot. So just a little bit of preventative right there can help save you a good headache. So now with two hands, take the headlight assembly back over, pop them in, push the red tangs down, and you're ready to set it in. Now make sure your connectors are all the way seated, and the way that you do that is just hear the click, and then if you pull on it a little bit, it won't come off. So then you can lock those red tabs. Perfect. And now we're ready to set this back in here. And then with two hands, put that cover back on. So remember, you've got to hook the top first. So get that top hooked on, and then Yeah, a little bit of finagling. Yeah, there we go. So you get the top hooked on and then you can push the bottom in. Before we go and get all the screws in and everything, if it stays really good, leave it alone. If not, use one hand and just kind of hold it in place. But now is a good time to turn your ignition on and see now it's working. And then we go to the high beam. Okay, high beam's working too. It's just good to make sure it's actually working before you go and put it all back together. Alright, so this just wouldn't be an auto tech video if we didn't Loctite something, right? So go ahead and put a little dab of blue on there and start threading that in. Thread it in by hand so that you can tell if something is cross threading. Now I just like to get this side touched down and then we'll go to the other side. And by touch down I mean like you're not torquing it, like, so we're there now. So now we're going to go to the other side. So get on this side, just start running that in with your fingers, and then we're going to touch it down. Now something to remember if you're using a ratchet is don't be holding it back here and tightening that down, because I guarantee you you're going to strip it out. So just hold it up here and kind of give it a little bit on top. Don't forget to come back to this side, touch it down, and give it a little bit of a torque. Alright, so at this point you're pretty well done. Pop your fairing back on and you're ready to go. So just if you do have a removable fairing or anything like that, just kind of give a good double check. Make sure that everything is latched on. Make sure your HD clamps are seated, fastened, secured, whatever you want to call it. And then if you're like me and you have the lock, you just push that lock down. Now they're locked. Right on. So there you have it. Nice, simple, easy repair. You can get fancier bulbs that are better than just the regular like yellowish halogens. I did have some like good high quality ones in there, but I'm kind of thinking I might pursue an LED route this winter. So this is just to get me by for the next, I don't know, at the rate we're going here, 3 weeks. I'm just kidding. We'll get at least 6 weeks out of this. But yeah, so I just went with some $10 no-name headlights, replaced both of them, and then over the course of the winter, if I decide, no, I'm not going to do the LEDs, I will go ahead and put better quality halogens back in, and then I can hang on to those as spares or whatever. So let me know if you have any questions. It's a pretty straightforward repair, something nice and easy, but you know, not everybody knows how to do that kind of stuff or wants to try until they see that it's not so hard to do. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and thanks for taking the time and watching.